So today I want to talk a little bit about the dominant seventh chord, the 5 chord, the V, Roman numeral 5, with the little 7, right? Here's the most common version. So G7 to C. And what kind of dominant seventh? Because there's so many kinds. You can have one that's a little bit more conservative and old-fashioned like that, or it could be stronger, or it could be inverted and have all kinds of fancy, spicy notes in it. So let's go over that. As I said, the most common one is just like G7 with G, B, D, and F. Okay. Now, I'm going to make that a little bit more intense. So let's say I put a sharp 5 in there. And it's nice because it goes, da, 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 da. It kind of resolves to the 3rd of C major. Let's go back to the first one again. Let me put in a flat 9. So 5/7, Roman numeral 5, often in most harmony theory books, it goes to 1, right? So that's what this whole video is about, is just that sound of the dominant going to tonic. Tonic is C major here in this case. Tonic could be anything, but today it's going to be C major. So we did the flat 9 and we did the sharp 5. Let's do something a little more intense, like altered. I could even put more notes in there. Let's see. Nice, right? That's probably the strongest one out of all the dominant sevenths. I like it because it's got flat everything in it. It's pretty much made up of the altered scale or parts of the altered scale. So you got flat 2, flat 3, flat 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. Yeah, so flat everything. That's one way to remember it. Bartok called it the natural scale because it's based on the overtones, right? So, although for that, we'd have to start on D flat to match that. So it's like, some people call this the Lydian dominant, D flat. And if I put G in the bass, that's what I did a minute ago. So that is the G altered scale. But if you start the G altered scale, starting on D flat, then you get a Lydian dominant scale. And what works out nicely is, let's say you're playing a G altered 7th chord. The bass player could play a D flat, and it works beautifully. So here's G in bass. Sounds pretty good, right? But now, switch to D flat in bass, and they're kind of equal, right? They're almost like this same coin, different sides, something like that. The one I haven't talked about yet is the sus, and that's a really beautiful one. It's kind of otherworldly. So sus, G7 sus 4, let's say. The most basic version is suspended 4th. You know a bridge that goes from one piece of land to another piece of land? It suspends. It's holding something. But eventually the bridge falls down, right? So just same with this. This is eventually going to resolve. No, it doesn't have to always resolve. I'm just joking. But suspended, that's the 4th. Because old music, there was always a 3rd, right? You wouldn't have this like 300 years ago, for not for long anyway. Whereas nowadays, you might just camp out there for a while, right? So that's the sus chord, and then an F on top. So I've got G, C, D, and F. If you want to get fancier, put an A in there. That's a nice 9, so now you could call it a G9 sus, something like that. And then the scale, for most purposes, is just the white notes in this key. Or if it's A flat sus, that's scale. But in the white keys for G7 sus, it's kind of like all the white notes. And there's a lot of beautiful arpeggios that you could play over it. You could play F major arpeggio over it, or D minor 7. one? Let's see. Oh yeah, you could alternate from G to F, which is nice. So I'm just playing an F major triad, G major triad, and so on forever. So broken arpeggio on F, G, F, G, F. Or you can play them solid too. And that's really nice. Yeah, so there's different tricks you can do that. But that's a great sound. What's another way? Oh, here's a sus with the flat too, which is kind of nice. It's a little bit exotic sounding, like as if you're in the Middle East or something. Some people call that a Phrygian sound. What's another? Oh yeah, I guess another dominant seventh sound is the whole tone scale, or chords taken from the whole tone scale. So let's do G. I'm bored of G now. So let's do a new key. Let's do E. So again, Royal Conservatory of Music or classical, E7, E7 to A. Right, that's the very traditional, simple version of the dominant seventh going to A. Let's do whole tone. It's sort of like the first one I did with the augmented fifth. Right, it's kind of a nice sound. And the nice thing is you can interchange B flat and bass also. So instead of E, you can play B flat and bass. So it nicely resolves to A major. Plus, if you have some lyrics, like in your song, like, it's dreamy, 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 right? Something dreamy. But now that you're on the A major, you can't say dreamy words anymore. No, I'm just joking. Okay, so those are like a lot of the, I think I've pretty much covered it. Oh yeah, one thing I was going to say was you can take chords. Oh yeah, the whole tone scale, you can find chords in there, like, oh, I'm breaking a chord right now, but I'm doing A augmented, broken chord, and then G augmented, F augmented, E flat, and so on. Or you can break that in a more oblique way, right? Or you could go two notes at once, two notes at once. Switch to F sharp just to make it more interesting there, but these are good for technique too, to practice those two notes and the two notes again. And the other thing I was going to say, the last one, was diminished scale. So half tone, whole tone, half tone, whole tone, half tone, whole tone, half tone. That's one of the diminished scales. And you can get a lot of chords from that. You can just choose notes that are in that, like right, so let's say we're at the end of a song, like that's from the diminished scale. I could even make it more Stravinsky-like and crazy, like let's go back to Happy Birthday for a second. Well, that would be quite a birthday, wouldn't it? Okay, thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.